Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, my name is Phoebe, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to bead on fabric. So beading has become a form of method whereby you add embellishment to your clothes, and all the videos you see here belong to Vicky James. So Vicky James is a well-known fashion designer here in Nigeria. So in this video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to bead on fabric in 4 ways. So here are the materials I'll be using for this tutorial. And what I have here is a pink sequin, and I also have this gold colored glass beads, and I also have this set of round beads. So I have black, and I also have blue, red, gold mixed inside. So here's the beading needle I'll be using. It's a size 9, and this needle is actually smaller compared to a regular hand needle, so feel free to use whatever size you have. So this is my nipper scissors, and this is my actual pair of scissors. Please make sure to use whatever it is you have available. So I've got matching thread colors for the pink sequin and the gold beads, and I have this piece of interfacing that I would be using as my fabric for this tutorial. So to begin, the first thing I would need to do is to thread my needle. So I'm going to be starting with the pink thread. So I'm just going ahead to insert the thread through the eye of the needle, and after I did that, the next thing I did was to create a knot at the end of the thread. I'm sure most of us are used to this by now. So the first method I'll be showing here is the overlapping sequin method, and because of the pink thread I'm going to be starting with the pink sequin. So I'm going to pick one up like this, then from underneath the fabric, or the interfacing in this case, I inserted my needle like this and pulled the thread out and passed the needle through the hole that you can find at the bottom of the sequin and pulled out the thread like this. And I pulled the sequin down to the end of the fabric like this. The next stage after doing this is to use your hand to safely press down the sequin on your fabric and pass the thread over the edge of the sequin and pull out your thread this way. Now you're going to go back in through the hole under the sequin like this, pull out your thread, then go ahead and pass the thread again or your needle above the edge of the sequin. All of this is just to safely secure the sequin on your fabric. After doing that, to create the overlapping effect on the sequin, you're going to take the second one and safely overlap your stitch line on the sequin. So I just zoomed in a bit so we can see. Now you're going to pass your needle again inside the hole that you can find underneath the sequin like this. Use your hand to press it so that it stays in place. Now after doing this, just like the first one, you're going to pass your needle again over the sequin like this. Pull out your thread tightly. Now repeat the process again for the second time for impact. So this process is a continuous one, so I'm just going to take that again. So you're going to place the next sequin on the previous one and cover the stitch line, then pass your needle underneath the hole you can find inside the sequin, and once you do that, you're going to press the sequin to your fabric this way. Now to secure it, pass the needle over the edge of the sequin like so, pull out your thread, and you're going to repeat this process for a second time for more impact. So once that is done, you're going to go ahead and continue the entire process. So I have gotten to the last sequin because this is where I want it to end. I'm just going to go ahead to repeat the same process of attaching the sequin to the fabric. Now the reason why I'm showing you this last one is because I want to show you how I lock the entire stitch. So once I'm satisfied with where I want the sequin to end, I just flip the fabric to the back like so. Then I use my needle to just pick a portion of the fabric like this to create a loop, then pass the needle through the loop and pull it tightly like so. So I repeated this process again one more time so that the stitch is safely intact. So after securing the stitch, I just used my nipper scissors to cut off the excess thread, and this is what I have. For the next stage, I'll be mixing the black bead and the pink sequin. So I'm going to be creating a bead on a sequin method, and for that I just passed my needle under the fabric this way. Then I picked one of the sequin, passed the needle through the hole and pulled down the sequin down to the fabric this way. Now I picked one of the bead like this, the black bead, and I passed my needle through the hole inside the bead and pulled the bead downwards this way. Now you're going to pass your needle through the hole on the sequin this time around, and you're going to pull the thread out like so. So you can see that the bead is now on the sequin. So for the next one, you're just going to pass your needle out like so. Then take your sequin again, pass your needle through the hole on the sequin, and after this you're going to pick one of your bead, pass your needle through the bead, pull it down this way, then pass your needle through the hole on the sequin and pull it out like so. So this is a continuous process to cover whatever area it is you're working on. So I'm just going ahead to repeat this for the third time. So far this is what I have, so I'll go ahead and repeat it till I get to the point where I want it to end. So this is where I want the beading work to end, so I'm just going ahead to repeat the same process at this point. After doing that, to secure the stitch, I flipped the fabric like this to the back, picked a portion of the fabric, created a loop like so, passed my needle and pulled it this way. So I repeated the process again because the tighter your stitch is, the more safer the beading work is. So I'm done with the bead on the sequin method. So we're going to move on to the next stage. So for this one, I'll be making use of the glass gold beads. So here's a close view on the gold bead. So the first thing I did here was to pass my needle in and out of the fabric. I did this twice just to secure the stitch. So this method is the straight beading method. So I just passed the gold bead through my needle like this, and at this point here I placed my finger on the bead like this and passed the needle right at the spot where the bead stops, and also passed the needle out again at the same spot. Now I took the second bead, passed it through the needle this way, pushed it to the end of the thread. Then I just use my finger to hold it in position, pass my needle at this point, and also I put out my needle through the same point right here. So I'm just going ahead to repeat the same process with the third bead. So I'll just go ahead and continue the process till I get to where I want the beading to end. So guys, if you're watching this video at this point and you are not subscribed to the channel yet, please click the subscribe button down below. So I'm just going ahead to lock the stitch by picking a portion of the fabric, creating a loop, passing my needle through the loop and securing it tightly. So the third method is done. Moving on to the fourth method. The first thing I did here was to pass the needle in and out of the fabric twice like this. I just took one of the gold beads this way and I pushed it down the thread onto the fabric. Now I made sure that it was facing sideways like this, then passed my needle at this point where the bead stops and pulled out the thread like this. Then I passed my needle right at the start point here and pulled out the thread this way. Then I took another gold bead like this and also made sure it was facing sideways just like the first one, and passed my needle at the point where the bead stops, and I pulled out the thread like this and passed the needle out again at this point here. So what I did next was to take one of the round beads. So this one here is blue in color. So I just passed my needle through the bead this way and I pushed it down to this point here. Then I laid it flat this way and passed the needle at the point where the bead ends and pulled out the thread this way. So this is what it looks like. So I'm going to repeat this step the second time by bringing out the needle at this point here. Then I'll pick one of the gold beads this way. Make sure it is sideways like this. Then pass the needle at this point here where the bead ends. After that, I would pass the needle through this point here again. Then take one of the gold beads. Pass the needle through the bead this way. Make sure it is sideways. Then pass the needle through this point here. And also bring out the needle through this point right here. After doing that, I just picked one of the blue beads, pass the needle through the bead this way, then pass the needle over the bead where it ends and pull out the thread. And I'll bring out the needle from the same spot. So here's a close view of what it looks like. So this is a continuous process. I'm just going ahead to repeat it again for the third time. So I'll just go ahead and continue it, and this is where I want the beading work to stop. So I'll just repeat the process again for the last time. So once I was satisfied with what I have, I just went ahead to lock the stitches at the back. So please don't forget to lock here so that your bead work does not come undone. So after all is said and done, this is what it looks like. Please note that you can incorporate all these type of beading methods on whatever dress you're beading. So get creative and create wonderful pieces. If you've enjoyed this video to this point, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a giant thumbs up. So I also wanted to point out that this lady on my left and right has a beaded fringe on her dress. So if you want to know how to make a beaded fringe, I have a tutorial for that. Please check it out. Once again, video credit goes to Vicky James, and I will see you all in my next video.